Welcome back, everybody. This is Kenya. And today we're going to discuss 1 month. 1 month on my GLP-1 journey. Less weight, less noise, more me. If you are new to my channel, welcome. It's really good to have you here, and I'm glad you landed here. And I hope that you subscribe here so you can hear more goodies. So make sure you click subscribe, click the bell so that you can be notified when I drop these videos. That my goal is to release a video, an update video once a week. There may be a week that I miss, but so far we're good, right? It's only been 5 maybe, because I did kind of a prequel. If you are already a subscriber, thank you. I appreciate you. It's good to have you back. And I appreciate you tuning in each week and sending messages and comments and all the things. And so, wow, I can't believe it's been a month. I feel like, well, it's not quite a month. So I'm recording this on January 29th. I took my first shot January 1st. But I tend to record my videos either on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Really, it's been Wednesdays, but I couldn't do it yesterday. Today is Thursday. I'm recording it. I hope to drop it today. If I don't release it today, I'll release it tomorrow, Friday. And I have a lot of stuff that I'm announcing with my Finding Your Voice business this weekend. So I want to just give this its own space and then get into that. But yeah, man, oh man, how time flies when you're having fun. So if you're new here, each week I just give some food for thought about how this journey has been for me. I am currently on tirzepatide, which is a GLP-1 medication. I am taking it for weight loss. I don't have any other premorbidities, with the exception of I do have high cholesterol that's managed. But really, for me, it's been this struggle with being able to lose weight, particularly during my recent years of perimenopause. I am very close to full menopause. But I would say the past, I've always struggled with food noise. I've always struggled with managing my weight, having to work incredibly hard to keep my weight in check or down or at the size and that I wanted or that I needed. And honestly, the past decade has just been harder and harder and harder. And so I decided to take a GLP-1. And so you can watch some of the other videos. If this is your first time watching this and you want to get a little bit more context, I encourage you to subscribe. But yeah, go back and watch a couple of videos. I'm going to make a playlist for all these videos because I do a lot of different things. And so I want to create a playlist so that people can just come directly to this if they just want to binge watch this journey. I try to keep these at 20 to 25 minutes, these updates. And so let's go. Let's talk about it. So first of all, I weighed yesterday. I didn't weigh in today, but I weighed in yesterday and I was like, whoa. I believe the last time I did my update, I was at 226.6. So that was a week ago. And so when I weighed in yesterday, it said 224.6. So that would be a 2-pound loss, which I think is significant at this stage. I guess because I was noticing that the scale was, just kind of inching itself down. And then it did this big drop. And I that happens to me because I weigh myself a few times during the week, usually 3 or 4 times during the week, because I'm wanting to just see how my body is responding to my movement and my foods and the different things that I'm just doing. And also it helps to keep me not so attached to the scale. It kind of normalizes. It's just numbers. It helps me normalize going up. When it goes up, staying the same, going down, all of that. But I was a little surprised to see it go down a full 2 pounds because it had been kind of doing this, little dance during the week. But I'll take it. I'll take it. And so that total wise, I started at 231.4. So y'all know my running joke. If you've been watching my videos, I'm always point 0.2 away from whatever the whole value is, right? So at this point, I've lost 6.8. I'm just point 0.2 away from the full 7 pounds. And I feel really good about that. And again, I'm technically 2 or 3 days shy of a full month. So maybe I have time to see if I'll get to that rounded 7. It's not a big deal. My goal per month, I want at least a pound lost a month, but preferably, in that anywhere from that 3 to 4 pounds, 5 pounds. So I know when you're first starting stuff, and if you're at a heavier weight, you will lose the weight initially quicker because it's your body's like, So I feel pleased about that. I feel pleased about it. I feel good. And that kind of shifts me to the next part of this. Is less noise. And I've talked about how, much calmer my mind and, the food analysis that I tend to do. And that's a lot less. But what I reflected on this week was this nervous system idea and how the GLP-1 is, it is impacting the brain, and the brain is obviously a central component of the nervous system. And I was talking to my sister about this calm and I've talked about it, I think I talked about it in my last video, this calm that happens. And so when you think about calm, you also have to understand that means the nervous system is more regulated. So when we have anxiety or when we have nervousness or OCD or any of those spaces, that's really our nervous system. Something is happening with that. So that's why meditation, mindfulness, breath work, yoga, that's why those things work so well for anxiety and for panic attacks and for those things, because what meditation and mindfulness and those things do is they regulate the nervous system. So one of the other things that can happen when a nervous system is dysregulated is it will go through whatever kind of circuit or loop to get itself to try to feel what it thinks as safe. And so if when you have sugar or when you have a cookie or when you have food, all of a sudden you're like, "Ooh." And then it's kind of a placebo nervous system relax, not the true essence of a nervous system relax, but it's kind of giving it the loop of what it's making you think will calm you down, right? But in fact, that's not necessarily what's really happening. I mean, it's kind of happening physiologically, but then we start getting into these loops that are not serving the rest of our body, right? So if I'm feeding myself a lot of sugar and maybe it gives me that dopamine to kind of calm me a bit, but now I've got all this sugar. So now my body, in terms of glucose and all the other things, has to regulate. So then it shifts it off. And so it's just in this constant weird cycle. That's the science, right? So what the GLP-1 is doing, because it is impacting the brain and the brain health, I literally feel that ease. And that ease feels so good. Oh my gosh. Having more calm. And what's freaking me out a little bit, I didn't realize how much noise, not just food noise, but just noise in general, that my brain has been dealing with. And I talked about this last video, but this is still so strong for me. I think that this calmness is what's allowing me to just slow down, decide, I'm going to eat this. I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to prep this. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm not torn because the mind just feels more settled. So I'm not thinking of this thought and then this thought and then this thought. And then like, okay, which one? I might have that extra thought, but because overall I feel just more grounded, then it's easier for me to choose what I more helpfully know or what I know will be more helpful and that's more intentional. Um, so this is really I now I see why they're looking at GLP-1 for people who have addictions. And that not only for it to be used for the weight loss, um, because again, if the brain isn't having to kind of fight itself a bit, it may release from those addictive behaviors, food, eating, addictive behaviors, those are habits, right? So that has been if if you are on the fence about a GLP-1, if you are thinking you've been watching this video, my videos or anybody else's videos or following anything and you've been still kind of like, I just want to encourage you because there's more happening than just weight gain. There's more physiology that's happening that's not that's beyond just going and exercising and not and making sure you watch your diet. And I know that's the first layer. It's an important layer. But what I am seeing and what I am feeling is, oh, I'm now being able to see my previous habits and my previous behaviors more for what they actually were and what was more going on with me. Now, I will say this about myself. Those of you who know me and follow my channel beyond this, I do coaching, I teach, I do holistic wellness, I do developmental work, I do astrology. So I'm always looking underneath the covers. Always. I'm always going underneath. Look under that, look under that rock. Pull a shade. I'm always doing that. That's my natural inclination. So I'm sure there are some people who are on GLP-1. They're like, she got all of that out of my nature is just to be that. That's just how my brain works. I never look at anything at face value. I'm a Scorpio. Where's it at? Where we, So it's really been, and for me, it helps me feel safer. It helps me feel more grounded and clear when I can understand the roots of why something is a something. So the less noise, more than just the food, just not having as much noise in my brain. That means I'm sleeping better. That means as I move through my day and conflict happens, I'm not as aggravated by it. I get upset. I, I, my husband and I, we say we have rumbles when we argue. We call it a rumble. We had a rumble. I cry, but I will say my ability to get back to neutral, my ability to rebound, my ability to sit still on something and be more reflective. I've always been like that. Okay. So I think if you've never been like that, I'm not saying the GLP-1 is all of a sudden going to make you like that. I think it's going to open a doorway, a possibility of that. But because I've always been like that, I can feel the difference and I can feel the calm more. And so that, whew, I've been facilitating a 21-day cortisol calm challenge for some women that I coach, some clients. And for community, it was open to others who were not my clients. And some of the women have said, like, oh, this has just been so helpful. These are little things, but it's just been so helpful. And these little things that calm us, I think we don't always fully credit them. And just how much, if I do little, how big that gets. So definitely less noise. And then the more me, well, gee, I'm just feeling more like myself. Oh my goodness. When I go to the gym now, like I'm running on the treadmill, not a lot because I'm not trying to be a runner, but it doesn't hurt like it did before. I don't feel like I'm like, ugh. I mean, it's challenging. I got to stop. I got to take breaks, but I can do it. I can do it. And afterwards, I feel good. I'm not all sore and achy and like, oh my God, I'm not going back there, which was starting to happen. It was starting to happen. And I feel strong when I'm at the gym right now. I'm at a new gym, and the energy of the gym is positive. And I've seen a couple people I know, and so I get a little hug. Hi, girl. Hey, girl. Hey. You know, there today when I was working out, a guy had his service dog in the area of the gym where I was working out. I love service dogs. I love it. I know people are like, a dog was in the gym. Yes, it was a service dog. It was helping him out. And the dog was just so peaceful. And I was like, oh, the dog is calming me too. Because the dog is just lying there, just watching, making sure his person is all right. But then it made all of us all right. And so just being able to take in those moments, especially with what's going on in the world right now. And I have a lot of thoughts about that, but I choose to curate my life in this moment to take deep care of myself. I made that commitment to myself. Really last fall, I committed that I needed to deeply take care of myself. And so now that I'm feeling more in a rhythm of this with the GLP-1, there's some other parts of my life that I need to deeply get into. And finances is my next deeply. Now, hopefully that doesn't make all the noise come back and make me all anxious all over again. But it is an area that I realize I need to get deeper because I've got some pretty amazing things on the forefront, and I've got to get my financials, and I need to look at them deeper. And so I'm just glad I made this decision to do this. And I'm so grateful. And I've said this before, but I'm just so grateful to the people who I talked to who were able to give me their insight, because it really was so helpful in me making a decision. And so if you are wondering if you should do this, or you are battling with your thoughts, you're having a difficult time talking to your physician, maybe even about it, maybe just booking an appointment, don't veer completely away from some of the telehealth opportunities. Look for in those telehealth GLP-1 areas to have them have nurse practitioners and licensed medical professionals on staff. So that way, the information you get and how you're guided to your subscription or whatever is guided by someone who is licensed. I used MIDI, and I've talked about that before, and I think that MIDI has worked really well for me. They've been very responsive. I have my nurse practitioner. I can message her at any time. She responds within 24 hours. I have asked what I think are just crazy questions, and she always is like, these are not crazy questions. This is your health. This is your body. You matter. And I'm like, when have I ever been able to do that with a primary care doctor? When have I ever been able to do that? My insurance is covering my visits with her. It doesn't cover my prescription, but my prescription right now, I'm still at the 1.25, which is half of the lowest that most people take. But my body is responding, and I'm not having side effects. The constipation, the poop, that was my last video. I talked about that, but I'm working through that, and it's better. And so it's just been a really positive experience. And so I have felt, therefore, more like myself again. I'm down 7 pounds clothes wise. I feel like, my clothes fit about the same. If anything, the things that I feel like fit a little differently are my undergarments. So my bras, that's where I carry a lot of when I gain weight, my face, which I posted a little video. My face is slowly, it's still, but I can see some of that coming, puffiness coming down a little bit. And then my breast, That I definitely, with my bras, I'm like, oh, listen, I was about to get a breast reduction. I'm serious. I was calling the plastic surgeons and then they said $10,000. I said, no, I can't do that. Can't do that. But my breasts were just, and I'm breasty. I'm breasty. Okay. But I feel it in my bras, definitely. They just feel more comfortable. Like just like I'm not always pulling and yanking which was starting to happen. So I don't really feel a difference with my clothes. I mean, again, we're almost at 7 pounds. I don't really expect that. I didn't measure my inches. I'll probably do that at some point later. It's just a lot to measure inches. I didn't do it. Let me just focus on the scale right now. That's the only numerical quantitative data I can do right now. But yeah, 1 month in, feeling good, really grateful. My mantra's appetite. If you want to know, that's the microdosing of that compounded version. I also take supplements, and I believe for my second month, I'm going to talk a little bit more detail of an acronym that I use called LEAN. So LEAN is lifestyle, exercise, attitude, and nutrition. And that's something that for me and my coaching business that I've worked with people is this idea of getting lean. And so I think I'm going to use that maybe in month 2 to talk about what each of those areas of life and kind of how I'm navigating that. Because I still pay very much attention to my lifestyle, exercise, my attitude, and obviously nutrition, what I'm eating. So that's lean. All right. Well, that's all I got for y'all. Thank you again for tuning in. Again, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Keep tuning in. Click the bell so you're notified when this video comes out. I don't currently have a newsletter, but I'm thinking about doing a Substack to talk a little bit more. Kenya in Alignment is kind of what I'm thinking for this Substack, where I can talk a little bit more personally about this, some things that I maybe am not sharing here, but sharing behind the scenes. And that way, if people want to really tap in, they can join that. But I don't know yet because that's more stuff, right? And I don't know. I don't know. But all right, you guys take care. Have a wonderful day. If you are watching this in the future, way, way far from now, hope life is good. And if you are on this journey, thank you for sharing a journey with me. If you're not on the journey of a GLP-1, but you are learning, yes, because I'm sure one of your loved ones, somebody near you, far, close, far, whatever, probably is. And hopefully by hearing my story and others, it can help you have even more compassion and empathy for the whole process. So, all right, you all take care. Talk to you soon. Bye.